Hey guys, this is AngrehToast, and we are resuming our playthrough of Darksiders. We just met the Demon Merchant Volgrim, this lovely guy right here, and he has requested 500 souls before he gives us what we need. So we will rampage around town and collect souls from trees and lamp posts and everything else in this lovely world that's so lively. And while I'm doing that, I noticed something interesting about this game is they do not give you a lot of background information on the story. They don't explain everything as well as some people would like. And I don't know whether that is because it's going to be coming later in the story, or if it's covered elsewhere, or if they just don't explain it at all. I'm not really looking for answers. I've just noticed a bunch of things that I thought were interesting and thought I'd share with you. So the first thing that is interesting is war has been gone from Earth for 100 years. It was 100 years since the time that the big battle happened down here, and the time that he was meeting with the Crowd Council. So we don't know where he was in those 100 years, whether he was lost somewhere, whether the demons had him and just had him in captivity, or whether he was actually with the Crowd Council the whole time. We don't really know. We can assume the demons had something to do with it, because the council had what seemed like pretty hardcore evidence that war was working with the demons, and we saw none of that the first time. I mean, we were fighting both demons and angels, not discriminating between the two, and the council seemed to think that he was siding only with the demons. So that points to something, maybe something with the demons happened. They had him and were pretending that he was working for them or something. We don't really know. Another thing is, what happened to all the angels? So, we know all the humans were wiped out, or at least the Watcher seems to think that all of the humans were wiped out, just replaced by these weird zombie things, which I'll get to in a bit, actually. But we don't know that the angels were wiped out, but we haven't seen any yet. It could just be that they're later on in the game. It could be they're hiding somewhere. We don't really know at this point. I also think it's kind of interesting that the demons and the angels have to take, or not have to, but chose to take their fight to Earth. Why is that? Do they not have any sort of middle ground? Are they confined to their two worlds? Could be the case. Did they just feel like huge jerks and decide to wipe out all the humans?
Feed Volgrim's hunger. Now, maybe he'll feed our curiosity.
We don't really know, but you would think that there'd be more angels around, and that the angels, since the demons have pretty much taken over the entire world, that they'd be on your side. If you recall, they were kind of jerks the first time we met them. They were fighting us, and just as bad as the demons, which I actually do like. I like that stance that angels aren't. I mean, angels in most games get the good guy status, and that they're always, lawful. I like the fact that this game treats both sides as just that, just two sides fighting each other. Neither one is good or bad. Both are just as hazardous to the humans. Of course, in this game, demons end up winning out. It's sort of like Bayonetta, if you've ever... Bayonetta also takes that sort of thing where the good guys, the stereotypical, like, gods and angels are actually the bad guys, and it's sort of refreshing to see that viewpoint. So another thing, oh, that's where all the stomping was coming from. I was wondering. So another thing I noticed is for 100 years, the Earth hasn't really changed all that much. There's demon spires around, but those could have very well happened in the very first attack. And I mean, other than the giant demon fortress in the middle of the city, there isn't really all that much change, and all the destruction, of course. You can't overlook that. Now again, this could be something we just haven't seen the extent of Earth's change. But you would think that it would be less of a city and more of a whatever the demons want it to be, because they've pretty much run the place. We also know nothing about the call. You recall that War mentioned something about he heard the call, so obviously there was something that made him think the seventh seal was broken. Nope, my sword just let it up. But if that is the case, then where are his brothers and sister? Because I guess one of them is a woman. I forget their names right off the top of my head. There's War, Death, Fury is the woman, and I always forget the last one. Strife is the last one. He has the pistols. So of course you play as Death in the second game. And I think they all make an appearance in the second game. Well, regardless, the point I was making is, so if he heard the call, you would think that they would also hear the call, but they're nowhere to be found. So was the call just a trap from War, or was it something else, or did they get sent elsewhere? We don't really know that at this point. You would think that they would at least pick up on the fact that War is actually running around on Earth, but nothing so far. And we might see them later on. I don't know. I haven't really looked into where the plot goes from here.
Gates have a mind of their own.
We'll see.
With this, you may reach an understanding. Beyond the gate, seek out Samael's prison. Once, Samael was close in power to the Dark Prince himself. Some might even say, a threat. You will find he is no friend to the Destroyer. Seek me out when you've gathered more souls.
So the Destroyer's actually not the guy that we fought in the beginning. I thought he was. But apparently that guy was just a minion of the Destroyer, and we haven't actually even seen the Destroyer yet. I was contemplating buying something, but I have like no souls, so we will equip the Earth Caller and we will get on our way, because as much as you probably love seeing me farm souls, it's not the most exciting thing. So this gate is actually one of those big stone guys that we saw in the beginning. Got a wicked accent, too.
None are free while the Destroyer still breathes.
The Destroyer, yes. To his service we are bound, though enemies will remain. So his enemies we call friend. Pass now, friend. Must bring victory. Must bring freedom.
So that's interesting. He implies that the big stone guys are actually with
If that was the gate, I can't wait to find out what's behind it.
Are actually allies with the angels, and maybe they just couldn't bring them wherever they went, and the demons just sort of took hold of them and said, guess what, you're working for us now, and they couldn't do anything. Another thing we aren't really sure of. And I'm not looking for answers by any means. I just sort of like to flesh out the questions. Same thing goes for these zombies that we see everywhere. Are they actually minions of hell, or are they humans turned minions of hell? If you look close, you can see like almost demonic marks on them. That leads me to believe that they were once humans and they've been converted into these things that they are now. But obviously not all the humans were converted, or there would be a lot more of them. The library has certainly seen better days. It really does make me wonder about the status of War's siblings, though. And they are all actually brothers and sisters, which I also thought was interesting. There's a bunch of stuff on the wiki. I haven't read up on all of it, so I don't claim to know all of it. Some rather interesting stuff that isn't in the game, or at least we haven't seen yet. You have to wonder if this was all a ploy to rid all of them of their powers, because they were the most feared warriors of all warriors. So maybe this was just a plan by the demons to get rid of the most fearsome opponents. We are in the Scalding Gallow now. Looks lovely. Look at this scenery. So another thing, I'm not sure if we covered it earlier, but so if you notice, we're in a city that looks a lot like the one that we were in the very beginning of the game. And you gotta wonder what the rest of the world looks like. And if this is indeed the city that we are in the beginning of the game, why is it so important that war goes back here? You would think that if this was the main stronghold of the demons, there'd be a lot more of them. So we don't really know the case, why that is the case. I don't know if we can get across. There's a lot of chests in this place that you can't get to quite yet, and I don't think I can get there yet. They like to tease you with things you can't get to, sort of like the Batman series or Metroid series, where backtracking is required. Alright, well, before we go up to Samael's prison, we'll take a break here. We'll pick this up next time and see what the trader has to say. So until next time, see you then.